Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Belinda Beauties. Today I'm going to be creating two do-it-yourself Christmas front door decor, and these are very low budget. These are only under $10 each. But before that we get started, I'm just going to ask if you can please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and also if you'll click that bell icon so that you can be notified every time that I upload a new video. Okay, my beauties, let's go ahead and get started. For the first DIY, I'm going to be using my glue gun, and I'll also use it for the second DIY. And for the first and second DIY, I'll be using this ribbon right here. And for the first DIY, I'll be using this white mesh, and this is from Dollar Tree. And for the first DIY, I'll be using these two reindeers, and I purchased them at Dollar Tree. And for the first DIY, I'll be using these two stem berries, and I purchased them at Dollar Tree. And for the first and second DIY, I will be using this Rust-Oleum in the metallic paint and primer in the color Satin Nickel. I'll also be using my scissors for both DIYs, some floral wire for both DIYs. I'll also be using this large hula hoop from Dollar Tree, and this is for my first DIY. It measures approximately 25.5 inches wide. Okay, so starting off with the first DIY, I'm going to be using this hula hoop that I've used before in a previous DIY, and as you can see right there, I'm showing you where it had some glue. Now what I'm going to do first is I'm going to empty it out by opening it and just spilling out the little beads that it has inside. Once I do that, I'm going to take it outside and I'm going to go and spray paint it. Once I'm done with that, I'll come back and continue with the project. Okay, so next I've already brought my hula hoop back inside. The paint is already dry and I can go ahead and continue with the project. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to add these two reindeers, one on each side, and I'm going to hot glue them onto the hula hoop. And so what I did is I positioned one reindeer to the right and then one to the left, but it did take me a while to position it just right, because I wanted the hula hoop to be right underneath the reindeer, and that way the hot glue would adhere well to it. After that I was done hot gluing that one reindeer, I went ahead and I did the second one, but on the opposite side. And this is how the hula hoop looks now with both reindeers on. Okay, so next it's time for me to add the berries, but before that I do that, I am gonna break off or snap off the stem, and then I'll be able to cut it off. Next, I'm gonna position my berries up at the top of the hula hoop, and then I'm gonna hot glue them, and then afterwards I'm gonna add some floral wire to it just to give it a very good hold. Okay, so now that I'm done with the hula hoop, I'm going to put it away because I'm going to start on the bows. Okay, so I'm going to start with the white mesh ribbon, and what I'm going to do is create a bow. So I'm going to fold it around 5 to 6 times over. Next, I'm going to pinch the center and I'm going to gather it together, and then I'm going to wrap it with a piece of pipe cleaner. You can use the floral wire. I just had this on hand. I just decided to use this. Then I'll turn it over on its back side, and then I'll tie it at the back. And this is what the bow looks like in the front side, but I'm not going to fluff it out yet. I'm going to put it aside. Now for this ribbon, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to fold it over about 5 or 6 times and then also create a bow. For this one, I'm just going to do something different. I am going to fold it in half. Then I'm going to cut a slit on each side. And then I'm going to wrap some floral wire on the center and then tie it on the back side. Okay, so I've fluffed out both of the bows and this is what they look like. Next, I'm just gonna tie the red one down onto the white one. Okay, so the next thing that I'm gonna do is just cut one long ribbon because I do want my bow to have 2 long tails. I'll also be cutting the ends of the tails in a V shape. Next, I'll be twisting the ribbon up at the top and then I will be attaching it behind the bow. Okay, now for the last step, I will be attaching it to the top center of the hula hoop and I'll be using some floral wire to that. And then I'll also be adding some hot glue just to secure it well. And this is how my first DIY turned out. For the second DIY, I'll be using 2 of these willow wreaths, and it is the smaller one and the larger one, and these are found at Dollar Tree. This is a Dollar Tree Christmas ornament, but I'm only going to be using the greenery from it. I'll also be using this pattern that I drew out myself, and it is going to be the snowman's hat. I'll also be using a piece of foam board, a box cutter, a paintbrush, some black acrylic paint. Okay, so the first thing that I'm gonna do is just join these 2 willow wreaths, and I am gonna put the small one on top and then I'm just gonna use some floral wire and then just tie it down in the center. Okay, so now next what I'm gonna do is take it outside and spray paint it with some silver spray paint and then bring it back and finish it off. Okay, so while the paint is drying, I'm gonna go ahead and trace out my hat, and I'm just gonna use the pattern that I had cut out myself and put it onto the foam board and then just trace it out and then use my box cutter to cut it out. Next, I'm going to start painting my hat. I'm going to let the paint dry for a few hours and then I'll continue with the project. Okay, both items are now dry, my snowman and also my black hat. So now it's time for me just to bring this whole project together. And I'm going to start by decorating my hat, and I'm going to put a piece of that ribbon around the top of the hat. And I'll be securing it with some hot glue on the back side. I took off the greenery from the other hat, and here what I'm doing is cutting off the edges of the pine needles and just fixing it up a bit. Okay, next I'm gonna go ahead and hot glue it onto the top of my hat. And this is how the hat turned out. Next I'll be adding some hot glue to the back side of the hat and I'll put it onto the head of the snowman. Okay, so now for the last item, I'm gonna add the scarf around the neck of the snowman. And I will be using the same ribbon that I used for the top of the hat. Once I positioned my ribbon just right, I went ahead and I added some hot glue just to secure it well. And the second DIY is complete, and here is my snowman. Okay, so here I just want to show you the first DIY with the reindeer, and I hung it here in my front door and I think that it looks absolutely beautiful. And here's the second DIY. Well, beauties, that is it for these 2 DIYs. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up. That really helps my channel. You have yourself a blessed day. Until next time, don't forget to love, laugh, and create. Have a Merry Christmas. Bye-bye, and God bless.